Starutations, and welcome to a new episode of Critters from Across the Stars, a D&D video series where we take a critter from across the multiverse, talk about them a bit, and see how they might work in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. My name is Stella Cosmister, and I'll be your guide as we analyze which critter is doing a skitter in this video. Have you ever played a Pokemon game and sat there thinking, gee, it would be really cool if this Pokemon was in D&D? Well, then you're in luck. Because me too. I think about that often, actually. Quite often. Very often, actually. But recently, those intrusive thoughts have been occupied with, or rather, haunted by two Pokemon in particular from the Teal Mask DLC of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Poltchageist and Sinistcha. Aren't they the cutest little specters you've seen in a hot minute? I think so, at least. But take care when dealing with these grass and ghost-type Pokemon, because despite their adorable looks and playful demeanors, they're actually quite dangerous. Like, really, really dangerous. As the following analysis is sure to show. We're gonna start with Poltchageist and their source material. According to an old folktale, there was an old man who was a master of tea ceremonies, who was so obsessed with perfecting his craft that he eventually drove away everyone he knew and loved. Laden with regret and remorse, the old tea ceremony master eventually passed away alone. Though this was not truly the end for him. His regrets lingered and bonded with his favorite type of tea, matcha. Thus, Poltchageist was born. A tragic beginning for this brand new Pokemon. But in this way, the old tea ceremony master would forever be bound to the art that he loved so much. Poltchageist inhabits a form of tea caddy known as a chaire, and is almost never seen without their chishaku, a tea scoop used in tea ceremonies, both of which it protects lovingly and with great care. Truthfully, it exhibits this behavior with most teaware and broken objects it comes across, sealing cracks with its special brand of matcha powder. Though, most worryingly, Poltchageist is known for scattering its matcha powder on people and food. And if a living being touches or ingests this powder, their skin will grow brightly for a moment before eventually falling unconscious. All the while, Poltchageist will be draining their life force away to use as energy for themselves. Honestly, classic Game Freak, making their ghost types as tragic as they are terrifying. That said, though, it's easy enough to get the image that Poltchageist, at least in terms of D&D, would have the undead plant creature type. Poltchageist, though born of tragedy, seems to be quite mischievous and playful at times, and is only malicious at their worst. So I'm going to say that they can be any chaotic alignment. Thankfully, Pokemon are pretty easy to get a feel for in terms of power, and tend to translate quite comfortably into D&D. In Poltchageist's case, they have a base stat total of 308 in the Pokemon games. Their typing and move pool makes them quite respectable as a Stage 1 Pokemon. Though, translating it to D&D, I would place it around CR3 to CR4. Respectable as an opponent early on, but clearly the students of a much grander gathering of teaware. Right out of the gate, we're told about Poltchageist's behavior to scatter its matcha powder on people and food in the hopes of draining a living creature's life force. So immediately my mind went to the life drain ability that specters, wraiths, and so on have in D&D 5th edition. But in Poltchageist's case, they have the additional twist of a target needing to ingest or touch said powder in order for this process to happen. So if I were to translate this ability into D&D, first, I would call the ability Matcha. Second, this is an ability that would be always active, the powder being spread whenever Poltchageist moves. Third, if a creature ingests this powder or touches it, they must make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw or become briefly incapacitated for 1 turn. The next pair of abilities are extremely on the nose, but I adore them anyway. Teacup Toss is Poltchageist's main form of defending itself, using its abilities as a type of poltergeist to animate and toss teacups and whatever other objects it can get its hands on at the time to great bludgeoning effect. However, Tea Time is Poltchageist's primary means of causing damage when agitated. In a big way too, as it unleashes a wave of scalding hot tea at its targets in a 15-foot cone, doing fire damage and even inflicting targets with a burn condition. And with that, that's the analysis done for Poltchageist. And you know what? All this talk of tea is making me really, really thirsty. I think I'm gonna go make some, with the help of this video sponsor, Sakura. Experience Japanese afternoon tea from the comfort of your own home. Enjoy seasonal and authentic Japanese tea and snacks every month. Sourced directly from Japanese local makers. Indulge and discover the best of authentic Japanese snacking with Sakura. Here we are again, opening another Sakura box. This time it's for October, and their Kyoto's Crimson Leaves box. For this limited time box, Sakura has partnered up with the Kyoto Prefectural Government in order to make a box that's inspired by the beautiful sights of Kyoto during the autumn season. Kyoto's one of those places I've always wanted to visit during the autumn months. Not only because autumn is my favorite time of year and it's really pretty, but because I grew up in a part of the world where we have a ton of autumn festivals and tree viewings as well. It also helps that I'm a huge history and culture buff, and Kyoto is brimming with both. I love learning about and seeing how other cultures handle the various seasons of the world. See the differences, the similarities, and to just experience what goes on around that time is such an important thing. And it really helps broaden your worldview. Suffice to say, the Sakura box's theme has me feeling rather nostalgic. All those autumn months jumping into leaf piles, going on hikes, and just generally enjoying being outside. Because it's usually too hot to be outside during the summer. That said, though, the snacks and the tea this time around also drum up all the feelings of being cozy by a campfire with your friends and family. Whether it's telling ghost stories or just having a good time as you watch the sunset as day turns to night. The next time I go on an adventure, you know for a fact I'm going to be packing some tea and snacks from Sakura to share with my adventuring party. A kettle to heat over a campfire, a small table to set the snacks on. Though they'll have to fight me for any of the dorayaki, I will go to the ends of the universe for dorayaki. Also, if I'm being truthful with you all, the snacks and tea in this box in particular at the time of this recording didn't even last for 32 hours while it was in my possession. The Hojicha tea was finished by morning, the Yuzu dorayaki was gone within the first 10 minutes of me opening the box. Mostly because I was fiending for some dorayaki, but I digress. The Momiji cookies were next to go because I love maple, cinnamon, and, well, cookies in general. And to finish off my first tea time with this box, I tried some of the hard wasanban senbei, which was such a wonderful blend of savory and sweet flavors. I'm going to have to keep an eye out for more snacks like that, because it surprised me. I could go on and on about the rest of the items in this box. It was full of so many little treats and flavor profiles that I adore, but If I did, then we'd be here for the rest of the video. But if you're curious and want to get this box for yourself to find out what treasures lie within, all you have to do is go to the links in the description and/or the comments and use code STELLA to get $5 off your first Sakura Co. box. But if this box doesn't seem like it suits your fancy, well, Sakura Co.'s sister box, Tokyo Treat, has you covered for a swath of more contemporary drinks and snacks. I wish you all of the luck in choosing between all these amazing treats. That all said, though, thank you for sponsoring me again, Sakura Co. You guys are seriously the best. Now, let's get back to the video. And now that we have a nice cup of tea, let's move on to the master of tea ceremonies themselves, Sinistcha, the evolution of Poltchageist. Sinistcha, like its pre-evolution, is a grass and ghost-type Pokemon, spotted in the small region of Kitakami, whose body is made of matcha tea. Sinistcha inhabits a tea bowl known as a chawan and wears a bamboo whisk known as a chasen as a hat and stirring implement. Sinistcha is a creature that prefers cool and dark areas, the closer to or in civilization the better, where they can attempt to trick people into drinking them and absorb their life force. This scheme, however, is hardly ever successful, thankfully. Funnily enough, though, despite its hunger for life energy, Sinistcha is quite popular with teacup collectors in the world of Pokemon. Like Poltchageist, Sinistcha is absolutely an undead plant, so I don't have to harp on this too much. Sinistcha would still remain any chaotic alignment, but something I didn't mention with Poltchageist is that they both have the ability Hospitality, which means outside of healing an ally Pokemon or creature by 25% when it enters battle, Sinistcha would honestly be relatively friendly and hospitable when it's not trying to drink your life juice. Despite its demeanor, small size, and overall appearance, Sinistcha is quite powerful. Surprisingly so, bearing a base stat total of 508 in Pokemon with a varied move pool that can be built around burns, setting Trick Room, and much more. So a battle with Sinistcha would be incredibly tricky, both in the world of Pokemon and D&D. Sinistcha would retain the abilities that I've already given to Poltchageist, but would have a few more tricks up their sleeve. In their cup? Anyway, starting with its signature move, Matcha Gotcha. In Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, this move allows Sinistcha to fire a blast of scalding hot tea that deals damage, heals Sinistcha up to half that damage dealt, and can even burn the target. It's very multi-purpose, very strong, and would make for quite the boot-quaking ability to use on a boss early in a campaign. It would give your party the sense of danger and would draw them in to the story in that moment. Additionally, while Sinistcha doesn't learn the move Trick Room naturally, I love the image I have in my head of a group of adventurers fighting a monster based on Sinistcha in an abandoned temple or mansion of some kind, where it draws the party into like this kind of like demi-plane where it can do the following. In this demi-plane or Jujutsu Kaisen inspired domain, Sinistcha would be able to make the player characters make a DC 16 Constitution saving throw, and if they fail, they have their speed reduced to 15 feet. That's any sort of movement, even flying. The other ability is something that I find pretty funny, is making the player characters make a DC 16 dexterity saving throw or be forced to switch places with one of their party mates at random magically. I think I might call that first ability Matcha Malaise, while the second ability could either be Topsy-Turvy Teacups or Rice Patty Party. And that's Sinistcha done as well. Here are the stat blocks for both Poltchageist and Sinistcha. With the analysis out of the way, it's time for a story hook. And trust me, There's nothing like a good story over tea. While passing through a town in the countryside known for its tea leaves and festivals, our adventurers are suddenly surprised by the sound of glass and other objects shattering as a couple is running out of a small shop. They seem rather scared and startled, like they've seen a ghost. That's when you realize that there are teacups and mugs being tossed out of the shop at the couple and now the party itself, with a gaggle of unintelligible voices giggling on the inside. Upon entering the establishment, the party is greeted by a minimum of 3 Poltchageists, who are playing with their little storm of teaware and fixing anything that's broken. Things that they broke. The Poltchageists then turn their attention to the party and don't seem too pleased that these adventurers are present. The only way to calm things down at this point is to defeat these little ghosty guys. Once everything is said and done, have your party make a perception check, DC 12, and if they pass, they'll see a small Poltchageist float out of the back door of the establishment and into the nearby field or forest. The party can try to follow this small Poltchageist, but it's pretty likely that they will lose them in the field or forest, as it doesn't exactly leave tracks. But it's all well and good. They'll see that little Poltchageist later. Not too long later, the party is approached by an elven woman named Carmine, who is the mayor of this town and saw what they did for the couple. She'll ask them to come with her to the town hall where they can speak in private, as she doesn't want to alarm the villagers with the knowledge that she carries. When they arrive at the town hall, Carmine tells the party a legend of a nearby shrine that used to be frequented by the town folks during the festival season many, many years ago. That is, until its last master of tea ceremonies fell under a horrible curse. After failing to impress a visiting archfey, the master was given a curse of obsession. He would spend the rest of his days trying to perfect the craft and to impress the archfey. But this was to no avail. In the process, the master pushed everyone away, and in the end, he died alone and full of regret. His lingering regrets manifested as the strange undead creatures that the party had seen earlier. And if no one went to place an offering to quell the old tea master's spirit, well, there would be hell to pay. Carmine admits that she forgot to place this offering earlier in the season and asks the party if they could leave an offering as tribute there for their town. She would do it herself, but if the Poltchageist had already made it to town, it would be too dangerous for someone like her to go and make the offering, even with a contingent of the local guard. The party, hopefully agreeing to this task, will find themselves trekking through a nearby forest that leads to the foot of a mountain where this shrine is built. Along the way, feel free to put an encounter or maybe a few cool thematic things for the party to look at. However, when the party enters the shrine, they bear witness to a shade of a festival and tea ceremony going on, where creatures and the very structure itself will work against the players in a veritable night parade. The party are outsiders, and these spirits won't let them get near the altar without a fight. When the party finally makes it to the altar, they'll hear the voice of the previous master in total anguish, telling the party that they are interrupting the ceremony and disturbing holy ground. Thus, a grand theatrical battle unfolds, with lots of tea and interesting mechanics, to say the least. When the party beats the old master and the offering is made, the small Poltchageist will float over and thank the party for helping them. It's revealed that the Poltchageist is the spirit that represents the kindness of the old tea ceremony master. He'll tell the party that any valuables that they can find in the shrine will belong to them. As with this final offering, his soul would finally be set free. The party can even have the shrine's divinely blessed tea kettle as a reward. And there we have it. How do we all feel about this take on these two Pokemon in D&D? I feel pretty good about it myself, and I honestly want to write a whole adventure around it. Maybe that'll be a session I'll run on stream. We'll have to see. For now, though, I'm gonna go get some more tea and get ready for my next adventure. Bye-bye, everyone! See you in the next video!